Okay, hello everyone and welcome back to World of Tanks Blitz. Today we're going to be doing another Which is Better. Don't worry, there will be gameplay in this video like all of the others, and there will be a timestamp in the description linking you straight to the point in the video where the gameplay segment of these two tanks will be. And then I'll conclude over that. But today we're going to be asking which is better, the Fury or Loza's M4A2 Sherman. And the reason that we're doing these two tanks is because they are both tier 6 American medium tanks, although technically this one is in the Russian tech tree, but they're both American tanks. They are both Shermans, and they're both American, and they're both premium Sherman tanks. I think they're the only two premium Shermans that we have in the game so far. So of course, if by chance both of these tanks appear in the shop at the same time, you may be thinking which is better. And if someone was to ask me which of these two American Sherman tanks do I get if I want to do better with better stats, which one do I get? Loza's Sherman in the Russian tree or the Fury in the American tech tree? And the answer is Fury, for pretty much nearly every reason. And we'll go over them now. So technically you could say that this is a bit of an unfair comparison, because this is an M4 A3E8, the Easy 8. I just know that it has an E8 at the end, which is why it's called the Easy 8, or for most people at least. I know that this is an Easy 8 and this is an M4A2 regular old Sherman, and the reason you can tell is because it's got the two different suspension systems. As you can see, this suspension system is different to this one. So you could say that this is a bit of an unfair comparison. However, they are both Shermans. They both have got pretty much the same armor. The only difference is, of course, the suspension. That's really the major difference between the two that we're going to be looking at here. So yeah, if someone was to ask me which of these two tanks do I get, the Fury is the better one for the stats. The reason that this Sherman, however, is in the Russian tree is because it's a Lend-Lease Sherman. Backstory on Lend-Lease, for people who don't know, Lend-Lease is tanks that were gifted to the Soviet Union to aid them in the fight against Germany, because the Soviets were caught on the back foot when Operation Barbarossa was put in place and executed, and so the Western Allies, basically America and Britain, were sending over what equipment they could to help the Russians whilst they tried to get their industry all set up and ready to start churning out tanks. And so of course America sent over a lot of American, Shermans and P-36 Air Cobras or P-39 Air Cobras, things like that. And this isn't the only Lend-Lease vehicle we have in the game. There are a lot of Lend-Lease vehicles in the game. For example, the Matilda 4, you've got the Churchill 3, for British stuff Lend-Leased, and another one that I can think of is the Tech Truck, which was British as well. But yeah, we're going to be focusing here on the Shermans. So, why do I say the Fury is better than this Lend-Lease Sherman? Well, let's have a look at the stats. I'll just give you a quick rundown of all the important stats. I've got exactly the same equipment loadout on these two tanks, although you do want to run them slightly differently, but to give them a fair comparison, they have both got exactly the same equipment slots unlocked and the same equipment set, and they have got sort of similar-ish ammo loadouts, but it's not really much different. They've both got 100% crew, and they've both got exactly the same consumables and no provisions. So, I'll give you a quick rundown of the stats. We'll go from Loza's Sherman to the Fury. So, Loza's Sherman, quick rundown of all of the major stat points you want to be looking at. 975 HP, 63 all round on the turret, 63 frontal hull, 38 side and rear. 5-second reload time, 128 average pen with AP, 160 average damage with AP, 3.1 second aim time, 0.3 gun dispersion, 10 degrees gun depression, 30 kilometers per hour average speed, 14.7 power to weight, 33 degrees of turret and hull traverse with a 441 horsepower engine. So that's the quick rundown of Loza's Sherman. Now watch how quickly the Fury has got different stats to this thing. 1039 HP, 76 frontal turret, 51 side and rear, 63 frontal hull, 38 side and rear. 4.73 reload time, 128 average pen with AP, 160 average damage, 3 second of aim time with 0.38 accuracy, 12 degrees of gun depression, 32 kilometers per hour average speed, 15.9 power to weight ratio, 39 degrees per second hull turret traverse, 48 degrees of hull traverse, and 546 horsepower engine. Now you will notice from the very beginning the stats were different, and consistently, near enough through the entire list of stats, the Fury is better in every way. It has got better HP, 1039 in comparison to 975, both of which are using improved assembly for extra HP. So the Fury has got better HP, and it also has better frontal turret armor, but weaker sides and rear. As you can see, the turret is all-round 63 on the front of Loza's Sherman, and they both have got the same 63 frontal hull. However, the Fury has got 76 frontal turret and 51 side and rear, which is not a lot, I'll grant you that. Doesn't matter whether it's got 63 or whether it's got 76 at the front, you're very unlikely to bounce anything other than maybe some tier 5s with like a stock Churchill using the stock 2-pounder perhaps. That's the only thing that you'll really bounce reliably off of the turret front of this tank. You can get bounces obviously off of your frontal armour on both of these things. The frontal armour is pretty flat, and you can also do a little bit of side scraping because they're still pretty weak hull armour, and you can't really side scrape with it effectively. But again, if you were going up against, I don't know, something like a stock Churchill with a 2-pounder, you can kind of side scrape because they are flat sides, so they do make for decent side scraping angles with flat side armour. But all round the armour is pretty terrible. However, Fury does have that better frontal turret armour, which means it will more likely bounce a shot with that extra, roughly 10-15 millimeters extra frontal turret. Then we move on to the gun, although we're going to skip the gun for now and we're going to go straight to mobility. This thing is worse at mobility. Loza's Sherman has got a better turret but a worse hull traverse. It has got worse average speed and worse power to weight. It is far more sluggish than the Fury, and you can feel it notably. Fury has got 32 average speed and an extra 1 horsepower per ton ratio with a better hull traverse and a worse turret traverse. Worse turret traverse by about 5 degrees, but a better hull traverse by about 5 degrees. So, yeah, I mean, with your hull traverse you can at least catch up with your turret traverse. But otherwise, yeah, it's a fairly decent turret traverse anyway compared to something like the Schmalturm. Schmalturm has got 25 degrees of turret traverse because of that big old heavy armoured turret. Something like the Victory has got a 47 degrees per second turret, and the Cromwell B has got 50 degrees because it is a speed machine. But out of the two, the Fury does have a slightly worse turret traverse, however it does have the better hull traverse. So I mean, if you value turret traverse over hull traverse for whatever reason, you've at least got that going for it with the Loza's Sherman. However, overall it is slower, it's more sluggish, it's worse at climbing, and it's worse at turning. I mean, that's the basic stats. It is the worst out of the two in terms of mobility. And then we come to the gun, and just look at the DPM. 2031 for the Fury in comparison to 1889 of Loza's Sherman. The Fury has got a much faster firing gun, so it does get an extra 200 better DPM. It also gets a better reload time. However, Loza's Sherman does make up for it with accuracy, and if you value accuracy over the ability to fire fast, you'll prefer Loza's Sherman. Purely because the Fury has got 0.38 accuracy, that's got 0.3 accuracy. That's a very big difference, and you can noticeably see it on Fury if you don't have refined gun installed on it. Obviously, for the purpose of this comparison, I've changed it to stabilizers. But otherwise, you do want to run this thing with refined gun over vert stabs. There you go. Otherwise, it does have better DPM, better reload speed. It's got exactly the same average pen with AP, exactly the same average damage with all three, and it's got the same aim time, 3 seconds in comparison to 3.1, so it's got 0.1 of a second extra better aim time on the Fury, which is nothing. But otherwise they've got exactly the same average pen with AP and APCR. 20 pen for HE with Loza Sherman. This thing has got 20 on HE as well. So yeah, they're exactly the same gun, except for the fact that Fury's got a better aim time but for worse dispersion. And also, something else to note, Fury has got an extra 2 degrees of gun depression as well, and 25 gun elevation, whereas this thing's got 20 and 10. So even Fury's even got better gun arcs in terms of up and down in comparison to Loza's Sherman. So Fury's gun is pretty much in every way better except for accuracy. Otherwise, yeah, you do want to be running refined gun with this. Gets it down to 0.345 accuracy, and in the gameplay you will see just how terrible Fury's accuracy is at longer range in comparison to Loza's Sherman, which has got pretty laser-like accuracy and gun handling. But otherwise, yeah, Fury is the better tank. It's got better armour on the turret, it's more mobile, and it's got a faster firing gun, therefore better DPM in comparison to Loza's Sherman. I mean, it reloads in about 0.3 seconds faster, which, you know, that's a considerable amount. It's not like it's a couple of nanoseconds before the Loza's Sherman reloads. No, this thing reloads, you know, pretty considerably faster than Loza's Sherman. So overall, yeah, Fury is the way to go. However, if you're not sold by that on stats alone, let me show you the gameplay now. I will show Fury first to give you an idea of how fast Fury is in comparison to Loza's Sherman. So let's have a look at the Fury game, and then we'll move straight on to Loza's Sherman, and then I'll give the conclusion after that. So here we are on Yamato Harbour, and we're in the Fury, and as you can see off the bat we go zooming over here towards base C. Now we are joined by a Cromwell and an MT25. There's a lot of ISs on this game. There's 5 ISs. There's an IS-2 Berlin on our team plus 2 regular ISs versus 2 ISs on their team, and they're going to be dueling it out, I think, at A point. But we come up here, we spot a T-71, I instantly damage his ammo, and we can see from the new damage model exactly where I hit him. So I try and hit him again, trying to get an ammo rack, but no. The Firefly was maybe trying to flank me, but luckily my allies are there to stop him. So around the corner we come again, hit the T-71, get back into cover from the P-43. Unfortunately, he does still hit us anyway. Yeah, I mean, the armour on this thing is not particularly great. The Cromwell finishes off the Firefly. Heading over here, going to wipe out the T-71. Bang, there you go. And the P-43 is going to die just before we can reload and finish him off. And, well, we've been joined by an IS over here who is getting shot. I come over here, I'm thinking about capping the point, and then I get hit by a Hellcat. First shot, unfortunately, bounces off his turret. I'm trying to get into cover, but he does manage to hit us once more. We do, however, hit him on the move thanks to vert stabs. However, with the refined gun would probably be more useful here. Still, we're heading around here, coming to get the Hellcat. Everyone else is putting shots into him, and then as I crest the ridge, bang, lovely shot into him again, thanks to vert stabs once again. But like I keep saying, we want to be using not vert stabs. And then coming around here, there's an IS over here. Unfortunately, I don't manage to get a shot into him for a bit. However, the MT25 does go forwards, allowing me to get that lovely shot into him. But again, you see that big dispersion. If I'd been using a refined gun, that shot probably would have actually hit him and he would be dead by now. But unfortunately, because we're not running refined gun and we have 0.38 accuracy, it went high. Now, after I hit this Dicker Max once, here we go, bang. We missed. Okay, I don't actually manage to hit the Dicker Max, but watch this on the IS. First shot bounces off of his thickly armoured parts. Second shot bounces off of his turret because the IS rammed him. Third shot bounces off of his front again. The accuracy of this gun at range is really not good at all. But yeah, so that showcases the accuracy. Second class mastery, at least 1,200 damage dealt. Did get 37,000 credits for 1 vehicle destroyed. We were second on the team. Top of their team was the IS, but yeah, you saw that accuracy at that range was shots were hitting him, but they were going everywhere all over him, and it didn't help that the IS rammed him. So my shot hit his thickly armoured gun. But yeah, so there you go, 16 shots fired, 13 hits, 8 pens. Every shot that hit us obviously went through, unfortunately. But yeah, so that's the Fury. Now we'll move on to Loza's Sherman, and just watch the mobility off the gate as we drive out. So we're on a Desert Sands encounter. There are actually 2 tier 4s in this game. We've got an M7 who has fell platooned up with a ELC, and a Panzer IV-D has fell platooned up with their Sturv. So I want you to note that I'm heading over here, and the ELC decides to go to the city. And as I was playing this game, I said to myself, ELC, don't go to the city, you're not designed for it. But he's going to go over there, and we're going to watch just how quickly he gets wiped off the face of the map. So we're coming over here, we're not meeting any resistance right now. Coming over here, we're not, pretty sluggish, but we do see that Sturv, and here's where the accuracy comes into play. Watch this shot. Bang, lovely shot, flies straight into him. Another tree falls down. I notice it wasn't from the Sturv, so I put another shot over there. Look at that accuracy, goes straight over there. Unfortunately, we did miss the Panzer IV-D as he just gets spotted there. Now, ELC is requesting help. Watch this. There he is, there's the KV-2. And in a moment, we're going to pan straight up. There he is, he's been spotted. Yeah, thanks for going to the city, ELC. Bet you're really happy with yourself now that you just took 600 damage in about a second. So we get spotted again by the Panzer IV-D. We've managed to take out one of their tanks. What was it? The KV-1S. There's that box tank over there. Put a lovely shot straight into his front there. Lovely jubbly. There's the Panzer IV. The ELC is surprisingly not dead yet, but we do manage to finish off that Leo, threading the needle thanks to the accuracy of this gun. Shot whizzes past us. Don't know where it went. Panzer IV gets wiped out, but he does manage to kill off our ELC. I just missed the shot on the Sturv. However, we do get a lovely shot into this box tank. Bang, finish him off as well. So we are winning by a lot. There's that M6, however, and I'm going to farm some lovely damage off that M6. Coming around the corner, bang, look at that lovely shot on the move, thanks to the accuracy and vert stabs. Next shot, bang, manages to hit his rear. Lovely, lovely. And as he comes out again, we do get a third shot into him. 5.1 second reload there, as you saw. And, well, there is a KV-2, and that KV-2 is going to be looking at us, but I do manage to get one last shot into the M6, and looking for another one. Bang, there we go, lovely shot. He's left on 6 HP, and, well, off he goes. Now it's the KV-2. Next shot into his turret, into his loader, and he's looking at me again, so I back it up. I put one last shot into his track, and someone else finishes him off. So, overall, we didn't get nuked by a KV-2. The ELC died incredibly quickly. He was, in fact, the only casualty on our team. And I don't think I took a single HP damage there, which was very nice. That was only a 3rd class mastery, however, for 1,470 damage dealt, but we did get a lot of credits, mostly probably down to those 2 kills. We were top of the team, however, on experience and damage dealt. Their top of the team was the M6 with not even 500 damage cleared, and 2 of their tanks did absolutely nothing. Our friend in the ELC, who went into the city, achieved a single shot and died. Still, 14 shots fired, 11 hits, 11 pens at least. Yeah. Did damage the ammo of that M6 with one of our shots with 5 hits on target. We got some assist damage on that box tank as well, and on the KV-2 when we detract him right at the end there. But overall, yeah, you saw the mobility of Loza's Sherman there was just not quite as sprightly as the Fury, and in neither of the tanks did we bounce anything. You know, that's fair enough. We are medium tanks at tier 6. None of the medium tanks are particularly well armoured, other than the Schmulterm and maybe the Sentinel. And also, you know, the T-34s, if you're lucky you can get some bounces. But otherwise, yeah, none of these medium tanks are particularly well armoured. However, bottom line is, if you want a tank which is better than the other Sherman, yeah, Fury is the way to go. It is superior in pretty much every respect other than accuracy, and even then you can get it down to .345 with a refined gun, which is slightly better. So yeah, that's the overall conclusion. Just Fury is the better tank. Obviously, if you want a more historical tank, you can go with Loza's Sherman. Loza's Sherman does have some nice writing and decals on it. Obviously, this is using one of the camouflages. Oh, press the wrong button there. Yeah, this is using one of the camos, which is this camo, which I do quite like, Desert Wind. It's a pretty nice camo. I wish we could buy it. I think we can, actually. Or it's from crates, I can't remember, but it is a nice camo. However, if you do want the better performing tank and you don't care that much about historical accuracy, then you can always go with Fury, which, although it's a movie tank, it is the better of the two tanks, like I keep saying. So yeah, there you go, the question of the Shermans. I'll thank you all for watching, and goodbye.